Join the conversation
with Richard Dean, Brandy Scott and Tom Urquhart.
You're listening to the Business Breakfast on Dubai Eye on One.
Continuing the theme of earnings season this morning, particularly in the capital, Abu Dhabi. Brandy was just speaking to the Chief Finance Officer of Aldar Properties, the biggest developer in the capital, and we are now speaking to the Chief Executive Officer of one of the biggest food companies in the capital, Agthia Group, best known for Alain Water. He is Alan Smith, and he joins us now on the line, but also on Microsoft Teams. Morning, Alan.
Morning, Richard. How are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you, but probably not as well as you, because your numbers, your quarterly numbers, were spectacular. A 62% year-on-year growth for the third quarter of 2020 for revenues. Now, for a well-established company like Agthia, that is quite a performance. How on earth do you have a 62% jump in revenues in a quarter?
Thanks, Richard. I think, obviously this year we've been acquiring some new businesses, and the inorganic growth has really been the driver behind that. We consolidated the dates business from January, the bakery business in Kuwait from the end of January. Then our two protein businesses, one in April and then one at August 1st. So in terms of that, we've been bringing those new businesses in. We've landed them pretty well, and we're pretty happy with the results that they're bringing.
Okay, so let's give a bit of context to this. So no one's heard of Agthia Group really, but most of us know Alain Water and some of your other brands as well. But since you joined, 18 months ago now, just over a year ago, you have been on something of an acquisition spree, and that was the strategy of the company. You talked about a dates business, and you talked about a bakery business. In simple terms, tell us what you've bought and how they're impacting the company, both in terms of boosting revenue, but also, when you talk about this in your earnings announcement, the challenges of integrating them, because it is a challenge from a management perspective.
Yeah, so our strategy is really to diversify away from our historic businesses. You talk about the Alain Water business. We also have the flour and feed business. We very much want to move into the consumer product space, and and we want to diversify ourselves outside of the UAE as well. So the acquisitions, if we start with Alfoa, is a dates business. Based in the UAE, but with significant exports globally, and particularly into Asia. Al Faisal Bakery is a fresh bakery business that we acquired in Kuwait. We then bought Nabil Foods, who are based out of Jordan, supplying to the GCC, but very strong in the Jordanian market. And then Agthia, which is a protein business in Egypt, number one in processed chicken over there, doing very well. Actually grew around 35% in quarter three alone. So, as you say, when you have a historic business, these new businesses are now contributing around, on a year-to-date basis, around 33% of our revenue. So as you say, one of the challenges is how you bring these businesses in, how you land them. I think we very much focused on good businesses that are doing well. And our number one priority is to make sure we bring those businesses in and continue that momentum. So we established, a dedicated, what we call an integration and transformation team. Their number one priority is to make sure, that we bring the businesses into the organization, but also we look at synergies, whether that be cost synergies or whether that be revenue synergies from cross-selling across the business. So that's really how we've been doing it, and I think so far we're pretty happy with how we've been able to land them into the company.
Well, let's talk about your water business. Higher sales, you say, were recorded in the UAE bottled water category in the quarter, boosted partly by the food service channel, so selling to hotels and restaurants. The question I have about the water business is this, and apologies, Alan, I've got a bottle of Masafi this morning, so in the studio with me. But the point I'm making is that it's not just your regular bottle of water. It's talking about the pH quality, pH 9, and alkaline. And I know you guys at Alain have done a lot of work of differentiating water and different mineral contents. How is that category evolving? Are consumers really caring whether they buy a pH 9 bottle of water or not? Can you really differentiate between a bottle of Alain Water that we grab in the petrol station or a bottle of Masafi or whoever else it may be?
The consumer, there's a couple of things. Firstly, out of COVID, what we're noticing in terms of consumer behavior is they are a lot more focused on healthy foods, on the nutritional profile of foods. And when we look at, the portfolio that we have in Agthia, particularly with our Alain water, I mean, over the last few years, we've developed Alain Zero, which actually went from being zero, excuse the pun, to being around 5% of the water category. So clearly there was an opportunity out there in the market for consumers who were looking for, less salt in this case. We launched our vitamin D water, actually pre-COVID. We've relaunched it again in Q4 this year. And really the focus there is around making sure that the consumers are getting the right level of vitamins. But you can do a lot. There's a lot you can do in functional water. Obviously, you've got consumers who just want to hydrate, which is obviously the key thing that you're trying to do. But certainly moving forward, we see opportunities in more functional waters to address the changing consumer needs.
Okay, finally, I'm wondering what's next. So you've bought a bakery company in Kuwait, that's fine, and regionally as well. You've bought a dates company here in the UAE, I get dates. You talk about your protein business or the chicken business, and you're differentiating the water category. I'm going to go around the business breakfast studio now and think, what's on our wish list, guys? What food group do we want Alan and the team at Agthia to buy next?
Almond milk.
Brandy wants almond milk, so plant-based dairy products. Alan, what do you reckon?
Look, we've actually, great question, Brandy. We've actually launched our plant-based portfolio through Nabil in Jordan. We're hoping to bring it to the UAE, but that's more on the protein side. Look, I think what Brandy raised in terms of the next generation foods, that is also, in terms of our strategy, something we're very much keeping an eye on. If we look, we actually during Q3 also announced that we're acquiring B&B, UAE-based company who are operating in the healthy snack space. So we're very much looking at how we can build business verticals. So we talk protein and frozen veg, we talk snacking with our dates and B&B acquisitions and bakery in Kuwait. Then we got our agri division and our water and food division. So that's how we're looking at it moving forward. And anything that kind of complements that portfolio is very interesting. And then just on the alternative side, we look across each of the pillars as to what alternative or next generation types of foods or beverages that we can launch. So everything's open at the moment. We're keeping our eye on the market. We're continuing to develop a pipeline of ideas. And hopefully we'll be back to talk about you more about this in future.
Finally, 20 seconds left. Tom Urquhart, while we're doing some free consumer research for Alan and the team at Agthia, what's on your wish list?
Alan, for me, I'll be mostly liking anchovies, please.
Tom, I'm going to have to disappoint you.
I just want a masala chai, Alan, this morning. It's Diwali. Tom's brought coffees for everyone. Can't get a masala chai anywhere, so maybe we can put that one on for next year. But for now, Alan, good fun talking to you. Thanks for your time this morning. Congratulations on a cracking set of quarterly earnings. That's the voice of the Chief Executive Officer of Agthia Group, based in Abu Dhabi, Alan Smith.
And still to come this morning, Diwali-nomics. Next, Richard's going to speak to not just a couple of jewellers, but also Choitrams about what Diwali means for their sales. Is there a Diwali spike? This is the Business Breakfast on Dubai Eye on One.
With Sharjah Investment and Development Authority, Sharuk, a beacon of inspiration with a wide portfolio of destinations.